Hi guys, Kate here with Canine Therapy, Fast Pup Dog Training. I'm doing this live. If anyone comes in here and makes comments, thank you so much. I will be answering them later in the comment section below because I'm driving and I can't read and respond most likely to any comments, but I just wanted to do it live because I just have something to say about dog harnesses. I got a question where I made a comment on somebody else's video last night. What's wrong with dog harnesses? And so I just wanted to do this really quick because if I edit a really short video, even if it's only 4 minutes, it takes like hours and hours to upload, and for some reason a live stream just goes live. So there is nothing wrong with dog harnesses. Dog harnesses have a lot of uses. The problem is that most people are putting harnesses on their dogs to avoid training. So a harness encourages a dog to pull, and it's used also to get the dog to lunge, and it's used in protection sports like Schutzhund to get dogs to agitate, to lunge at the bad guy when the bad guy steps out of the blind, cracks his whip, all that stuff. The handler will be pulling back on the dog's harness, and the whole idea is for the dog to lunge against that harness restraint. And then also harnesses are used in the case of sled dogs. You teach your dog to pull with a harness, pull a sled, pull a ski drawer, somebody who's ski drawing behind their dog. Out here in the Pacific Northwest, there's people that practice with their sled dogs, and they've got their sleds on wheels. So anyway, harnesses encourage dogs to pull. Now, in the case of a guide dog or a service dog, if the dog has been professionally trained, they will have been trained for obedience and desensitized to a lot of distractions and things like that before they become an official service dog. And in that case, the harness is a lot of times used for make it easier for the handler, and they'll have like heavy handles that they can use for almost like support and stuff like that, but they're not using the harness for training so much. The dog's already trained, and then they put the harness on as an auxiliary to help the handler with various things. What I see here, and from the comments that I see on forums that I'm on with professional trainers, what I see here in the Pacific Northwest and apparently all across the country is that in lieu of training, people put a harness on their dog so that the dog won't hurt its trachea or its anything in its neck or throat, because dogs pull so hard that they're going to hurt themselves. And people put a harness on to protect the dog from hurting himself or herself, and they don't train the dog. And I've talked to people who their dogs have literally pulled them into oncoming traffic. And if you have a great big golden retriever or a great big pit bull or a great big any kind of dog, they've got 4-wheel drive, and they are super strong, and they're low to the ground, and they can, even my little Australian Kelpie, who is about 40 pounds, when I play tug with her, she can drag me across the street if I try to hang on, and she can literally move me, and I outweigh her a lot. So putting a harness on a dog without training them to protect them from themselves puts people in danger. And one of the great sources of referrals for somebody who works with people to help them with their dogs is a chiropractor or a physical therapist, but a chiropractor especially, because people come in with injuries that they got from their dogs, and it happens when the dog's on a flat collar as well. But boy, when you put a harness on them and encourage them to pull with that equipment, it's a recipe for disaster. And I think this all started maybe I don't know, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I started seeing people put harnesses on little tiny dogs, and the remark was always that the vet told them they should use a harness on their little dog because the dog pulling could damage their little tracheas. And nowadays, every dog, it's like, I almost said something that I would have regretted. It's like peer pressure. It's like we see the other people with harnesses on their dogs and it looks really cool. So we go buy a harness because we assume that that's a good thing to do. And it's just spread and it's just everywhere. If you're really strong, you're big and you're strong and you're walking your great big golden retriever or your great big lab, and you can physically restrain that dog, then you're probably going to be okay, but you're going to end up with one arm longer than the other. So anyway, I just wanted to jump on here really quick and just put that out there. It is so important to train your dog, and there's nothing wrong with putting a harness on if your dog is trained, but the dog needs to have obedience training and learn to follow their leader and all of that stuff before just putting a harness on just to protect them. All right, well, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you down the road. And yes,